So, here with Spike O'Sullivan. Spike, you just literally think you're fresh out of the gym from... How many rounds of sparring did you do today?
Just since 4 late ones today.
4 rounds of sparring. So, we know Jaime Munguia coming up in about 2 weeks. Two questions I have. One, how did that fight come about? And how's camping going in preparation for that fight? Like, what have you been doing anything differently? Or has it been kind of the same old thing? Or have you been changing things up a bit?
Well, I got in specific sparring partners, as you've seen in the gym yourself. So I got in sparring partners similar to Munguia, as close as I could get to him. Got in a few big super middleweights of similar style to Munguia, so I've been preparing with them, and camp has been going very well, and I feel very good.
How did the fight come about? Was this something that was coming like in the pipeline for a while, or was it something that kind of just came about just over the blue?
Well, it was something I was aiming for him for a while because he was late middleweight world champion, and I was at light middleweight as well. So I was ultimately aiming to get him. I wasn't sure I was going to get him next, but got a call from Golden Boy, and they offered me to fight with him, and they did say that he was stepping up to middleweight. So this fight is at middleweight, unfortunately. But,
yeah, I was going to say, is that a bit of a kind of, I'll say a letdown? It's the fight you want, but if it had been 150 before, would have had that incentive of a title on the line. Is that a bit of a kind of...
A little bit, but not too much. He's still the undefeated world champion, so I'm still highly motivated. Obviously, he's undefeated. He is the undefeated world champion. So no, I don't think it would have been nice, obviously, to get the belt and be crowned world champion, but wasn't the beat this time,
This time, how's like the weight been going? Like preparation for the weight? Is it kind of, to some fighters, when they go down and then go back up, they kind of find the transition a bit kind of strange. Has it been much of a transition going back to middleweight? Because your last fight, I think, was at 154. Has you changed anything? Has it meant that you can maybe have Christmas dinner this year where before maybe you wouldn't have? Or
no, sure, Christmas dinner was relatively healthy anyway. Just didn't have the dessert afterwards or a pint of Guinness or anything like that. I just had a healthy dinner with turkey and ham, and I was able to have the potatoes and all that, so but no, it's been okay to transition. I campaigned the majority of my career at middleweight anyway, so I was mostly at 160. I've only had 2 fights in recent years at 154. My first 9 fights at light middleweight, and then I stepped up for the middleweight Irish title and campaigned at middleweight for 20 odd fights.
Yeah, so it's been pretty much a career middleweight at this
stage.
Pretty
much, yeah.
Do you think that gives you a bit of an advantage, given the fact that Munguia, he's the one who's coming up in weight? So even though your last fight was at 154, you're used to the middleweight kind of division. You're used to what you have to deal with. You fought some very big middleweights like Lemieux. Do you think that benefits you because right, I'm going to be the bigger guy, even though we're both coming up? I've campaigned here before. This is new to you. This is my territory. Because I think Munguia has even fought as low as welterweight before. So
I wouldn't say the Lemieux fight gained much experience about middleweight. But yeah, but I'm not sure. Potentially, I suppose, he has never fought a middleweight, so maybe he does. But I'm sure he's sparred with numerous middleweights in the gym and that. But it may be different in the fight. But I'm not sure the weight will have so much of a factor in this fight. I'm not sure about that. I think he could possibly come into the ring heavier than me. I think but I'm accustomed to that. I think majority of the time, most of the opponents come into the ring heavier than me anyway at middleweight. So.
Do you think as well the fact that when you look at like Munguia's resume, since really he came to light when he fought that Saddam Ali guy, back there about 2 years ago now, I think it is, the fact that he's not really fought any like punchers since then. Like if you look at his resume, there's been no actual punchers on it. Liam Smith's probably the biggest puncher he's fought since he's won the WBO title. Do you think that maybe could benefit you? Might be a shock to the system when he starts feeling a couple of your shots go in?
I do believe when I hit him that I don't know who he's in sparring, but he might have sparred with Canelo for all I know. I'm not sure. He maybe did. They're both Mexicans, I don't know, but I think as regards his fight resume, as you say, I do believe I would be the hardest puncher he's ever fought. So it'll be interesting to see with the small gloves. It won't be sparring gloves, it'll be the fight gloves obviously, and so it'll be interesting to see how he holds up to that if I can land on him.
Yeah, I know you're obviously not looking past Munguia. Like he is an undefeated champion, as you said, but hopefully all things go well, all things considered, you get through this. Who would you be looking to face then? Would the Canelo fight be something that you're definitely interested in, or possibly, because even though he stepped up to 168, you and him have history, he's not looked great at that division. Lemieux rematch, would that be something you'd be interested in? I know Pascal was saying that he wouldn't mind seeing you against Lemieux in a rematch, because even though the fight didn't go the way you wanted, you were in control in parts in that first round. You were definitely winning that round until you got caught. Would the Lemieux rematch be something you'd be definitely keen on, or is Canelo the fight, the dream fight, as it is for everyone, I think?
Yeah, I think Canelo or Lemieux, yeah, I suppose. Either or, you know, but I gotta just completely focus on this fight first. You know, my focus is on this fight, and you know, my goal of beating an undefeated world champion. You know, so I'm totally focused on this. But after this, Canelo would obviously be a great fight because he's a Mexican champion too, and we almost fought before, only for Lemieux when he landed that punch on me and beat me. I would have fought Canelo after that. So yeah, maybe Canelo, and the Mexican boxing fans, they like me, so
be a big fight for the Mexican crowd.
Yeah.
They probably do good numbers as well. Like.
Absolutely, we could go back to the same stadium that I'm fighting in, Munguia. It's a magnificent stadium. It's a 64,000 seater in American football pitch. So I could fight Canelo there after the Munguia fight.
Okay. Speaking of one of your former opponents, Lemieux, we obviously seen him step up to 168 pounds recently. He didn't look particularly good in that fight. Now, I know it was a short fight, didn't go your way. When you think of Lemieux, do you think that if you had a rematch with him, what would you do differently? And you know, what is it about him that really like you didn't like? Because we know you've lost to guys like Billy Joe. You and him get on fine. What was it about Lemieux that you really didn't like? Because I know there was a lot of beef between you two.
Yeah, I didn't like him at all. I think he's a bit of a prick, to be quite honest. Like, you know, didn't like him. I wouldn't change anything if I fought him again. I believe the fight would have went to plan only for he landed what was, you know, I hate to call it a lucky shot, because he does throw very good left hooks, and he's proved that through the years, and he is a good fighter, and he's done that, and he's landed many left hooks and knocked out many guys over the years. But I just think it was a bit fortunate, that particular punch, and I don't think it would happen again if we fought again.
Going on back on something you said earlier, when you said you're outweighed by a lot of middleweights, there was a big, even HBO said there was a big weight difference between you and Lemieux on fight night that night. Do you think that that's something that maybe should be looked at going forward, considering the fact that, like, I think there was over a stone between you and him in the ring that night? Do you think that that's a bit, obviously we know a heavyweight that happens all the time, but that's different when you're thinking about guys like middleweights, light middleweights? Do you think there's something should be put in place to prevent people rehydrating, dehydrating to that extent?
I think it was Roy Jones said on HBO that it was like a cruiserweight against the middleweight. I think I came into the ring at 161 and Lemieux came in at 179. I think maybe on the day, the weigh-in of the fight, you know, potentially something, or maybe the rehydration clause that I think that the ABF have. You can't be more than 10 pounds heavier than what you weighed in. I think that's should maybe be a clause, and it should all the governing bodies. You know, I'm not quite sure how they actually managed to. Lemieux came in 19 pounds heavier than he did at the weigh-in. I don't know how he done it. I heard that Munguia, when he was fight at 154, comes in at 175, which is 21 pound weight gain. I just don't know how they do it.
You hear similar things from people like Hurd over in the States as well. You know, I mean, I think he laughs at the fact that, you know, he's admitting to be like a weight bully and stuff like that. You know, he makes jokes about it, that, you know, oh, I walk around at cruiserweight and here I am weighing in easy as Larry, happy as Larry, making 154. Yeah. So yeah, I think when you look at that,
crazy. I don't know how the guys do it. You know, I just don't know.
I think it kind of takes away. I think it takes away from the kind of win they do. Like, because when you see someone, especially like Hurd, you know, who would have been a guy kind of, you know, close to your weight there, when you see him pretty much admitting that all I do is cut a hell of a lot of weight and walk forward and don't do anything sophisticated, do you not think that kind of takes a bit away? Like, knowing that if there was something put in place, say like you can't be more between of 10 pounds to weigh more than after. Do you think we'd see guys like Hurd, like Lemieux, be as successful as they were or they are if something like that wasn't in place? Because you do kind of, it does kind of make you think though, when you consider someone like yourself who would just you'd cut, you know, what needs be, but you'd only rehydrate, you know, to your actual weight, and these guys are going above and beyond.
Yeah, I think it would certainly they wouldn't be as successful as they are. Not a hope, you know, no chance.
So going off kind of the Munguia fight, so as we probably don't know, you've gained quite a name for yourself over the last few years. You know, I think the beard has a lot to do with it, amongst other things. In Ireland and in Irish boxing, it's being around the Irish gyms, and I think you've done commentary in a couple of shows here. Who do you see kind of up and coming? Like, when you look at kind of the grassroots level, you know, some of the guys we have in the gym and the Celtic Warriors gym, who do you see as kind of potential? You know, I look at him and I see a future star. Do you see any like prospects that you're very keen to keep your eye on, or?
I do actually. Two of them were sparring against each other yesterday. Funnily enough, they're not in the same gym or anything like that, but Niall O'Connor and Stephen Cairns, the young amateur.
Yeah.
I think he's got a great potential. He's only 17 years of age, coming up sparring with all the pros and does quite well. And I think he's one certainly for the future. Niall O'Connor himself.
I think it's a shame he's been out of the ring as long as he has.
Niall, yeah. Niall's got a lot about him. Inside and outside the ring, he's got a lot of character, which you need that, like a bit of charisma, and I think Niall is he's the full package. He can really fight. I like him. He's got good character. I think he'd be a good fighter for some of the bigger promoters, like to snap up and give an opportunity to. I think he's got as I say, a lot about him inside and outside the ring. He can really fight in the ring.
I think that's one of the issues that goes on in Ireland. Like, there's not enough shows. Like, yourself, I think you fought on the homecoming, was it last December? And like prior to that, when was the last like show you fought on in Ireland? Like, I mean, there's just
time Tree Arena against Fitzgerald back in.
You got the first round knockout that night, didn't you?
Yeah, geez, what, that was a long time ago. It was 2015, was it? I think
it was even later than that. I think
2014,
14 or so.
Yeah, 14. But I think Niall O'Connor, in my opinion, is the best prospect in Ireland at this moment. Professional.
It's a big statement.
Yeah, that's my belief anyway. He's
no,
I like that Victor Rabbi. I
think him and Niall. There was talk of them. I think last year. Okay. Whatever's happened between, I think Rabbi's gone one way, and I think
I didn't even realise they were the same way. I think he's also a good boxer. He's got good skills.
I don't know him now, but I seen his fight with Jay Caney there back in March. I think you were on that.
I think I actually commentated on that fight. He's definitely a superior boxer than Hanny, Jay Caney. But I think he got a bit lazy in that fight. I thought he showed.
I think he's a slow starter.
Great ability, but I don't know, it was the fight 6 or 8 rounds, but
he's 8 rounds. The Celtic title was on the line.
He didn't fully overexert himself in any round, but I can see the ability to do it. I would like to see a bit of Sugar Ray Leonard tempo out of him, It looked like he had the ability, but he just needed to work that bit harder. I spoke to him after, a very nice kid, and I wish him well, but he looks like he's got good potential. And Rhys Moore and that young fella's up training in the gym. I think he's going to make his debut. He's training at the gym. He looks quite impressive in the gym, and he's a tall, rangy southpaw.
And he's a super middleweight, so a tall, rangy super middleweight southpaw. That just has problems written all over it when you think about it. When you hear someone like that, you're thinking, oh, Jesus.
They're good.
I think there is in Ireland anyway, like the kind of prospect. There is good fighters coming through. We just need to. I think a lot of them just need exposure. That's the thing. I think if you look at like exposure for someone like in Ireland anyway, if you look at someone like Craig O'Brien is a mate of mine and yours, he wins an Irish title again. He won an Irish title against Jay Byrne last year, and that is good enough to get him a short notice fight on Sky. That shouldn't really be the way it is. There should be something here that gets them.
Yeah, he's been a little bit misfortunate, Craig, in that got the Fowler fight. He done quite well in it. He got caught with a shot, knocked down, and he knocked out. But he took that fight. He wasn't fully ready for that fight at the time, and again he got a short notice kind of fight this time against that Kieran Conway. He looks quite good. He's big at the weight and looks a good fighter as well. But Craig has a lot of potential and very good fighter. He's great. In the gym I've sparred him numerous times, and he's very good. And he can come again. And
I think he's being managed by Pascal now, where before he wasn't. We both know Pascal, very good management skills, understands the sport.
Yeah,
his family pretty much are boxing royalty at this stage, so there's no one better to be advising you, because at least with Pascal you can tell he's like a genuine guy. He's not going to try something underhanded and be like, oh, do this because I'm telling you, and he's got the fighter's best interest.
Exactly, 100% genuine, and hopefully Craig I'm sure he will get another opportunity, and he has the ability to take that, and hopefully he does get another chance at the big stage on Sky, and he can show his true potential.
Exactly. Well, I think he done himself nothing but favours, because even though he lost, he didn't lose badly. He gave a great account of himself in that fight. So it would have been a lot worse if he went out there and got blown away in a round.
Absolutely.
They probably wouldn't have even considered getting him back on. But at least he looked good. I'm sure you can look at that and think, you know what, I've got a fighter maybe that Craig might be able to fight, and hopefully
Definitely.
he can get notice and show everyone what he can really do.
Yeah, even in the Fowler fight, he was doing very well in that fight. And
very well.
Fowler said after the fight it was the first time he felt sore after a fight when he fought Craig. I remember he had a comment about that. So
I think it's funny, the 2 fights I've seen Craig on Sky, he's come out looking better than the actual guy he's fought. Because if you see Fowler's face, you see Conway's face after, they look like the guys who lost the fight as opposed to Craig, which kind of says it all, really.
Exactly, and he wasn't even prepared fully for both those fights, so it just goes to show if the right situation comes up for him, I think he still has he'll come good.
Yeah. You've been, like, look at yourself in your career, you had Murphy's Boxing supporting you for a long time. How long ago did that actually start you, and how did that come about as well? Because a lot of people they wouldn't probably be like on the level of, say, like, PBC card or a top rank, but Murphy's Boxing are slowly but surely growing. They're getting a good, like, list of fighters, name of fighters. They have Niall Kennedy, I think they've Mark DeLuca, who's fighting Kell Brook now in February, so they're slowly but surely rising. They obviously have the UFC Fight Pass deal as well.
Yeah.
So how did that come about?
I think it was about 2014 when I had a win in Tree Arena against Fitzgerald. Eddie Hearn was promoting the show, and I had no promoter at the time. It was a 1-fight deal, and he said at the time, after the fashion of the knockout, he said, like, it'd be harder to get me fights in the UK. So maybe Pascal should bring me to America. And I always respected Eddie Hearn for that too, because other promoters would sign you up and just leave you sitting on the shelf. But he said, look, I find it very hard to get fights after this win, and best maybe bring him to America. And that's where it kicked off with Murphy's Boxing. And then they gave me the opportunity in America, and I've been fighting with them ever since. And I'm very grateful to them too, and they've been great for me in boxing.
And look where that's brought you. It's got you a deal with Golden Boy. Obviously you fought on one of the biggest cards of the 2000s, if you think about it, the rematch for Triple G. You were the co-main event, weren't you, on that?
I was, and I fought PPC cards with Murphy's Boxing as well. I fought the undercard Durrell, the Gale as well.
I remember that. I think the first fight I ever remember, like, seeing you, well, the first 2 that come to mind were obviously the Fitzgerald fight. That was the first time I think I ever seen you fight, the first round knockout, which was, was a peach of an uppercut. I remember that. I think the second fight I remember was the undercard of Danny O'Connor, where I think Danny O'Connor got absolutely floored in the first round by guy. I can't remember the guy's name. Got wiped out, and I think you were on the undercard, and I think you absolutely destroyed a guy. I remember seeing you in the kilt. That was the kind of thing that stuck with me in the Steve Collins kilt.
Yeah, though that was actually. That year, the fight I wore the kilt was actually on the undercard of Durrell.
Was it as well?
Yeah, it was that. But I fought that night as well in the undercard of Danny O'Connor that night when he got flattened. I knocked out some other guy that night as well.
Yeah, it's been an interesting journey so far. So, I think the one thing I don't think you've ever had is you actually. I know that's why I'm sure you were saying you were probably upset this wasn't 154. I don't think, have you ever even had a world title shot yet? A proper, fully fledged world title shot?
No, I never did. No, I actually. There was 1 or 2 in the pipeline. I had the fight with Golovkin, but the money wasn't right, and for one reason or another, I could have probably fought twice, I think, for the world title as far as I know. I think it was twice I was offered it, but just thought the money wasn't right, like, and unfortunately I just didn't fight for it then.
That's the 2020 goal, is it, to, like, start the decade off with Munguia and then hopefully get a world title shot off the back of that. And I think even if you weren't to get the Canelo fight, with the way boxing is, with Canelo especially kind of going from one division to the other, do you think that could leave kind of an opening if he was to vacate one of the titles he has, that maybe this could get you high rank and you can maybe fight for a vacant title? If you can't get the Canelo fight, a world title fight will be a pretty good consolation.
Absolutely, yeah. You just don't know what's going to happen in boxing, do you? You just never know. Like, sure, he might vacate a title, he might end up fighting Golovkin for a title. Who knows? You just don't know what's around the corner in boxing. Like, you never know.
Boxing is one of those sports where you think everything's set in stone, and all of a sudden you look at your phone and something comes up and you're like, what?
So you look at Andy Lee when he won his world title.
I love the way, I don't know if you ever read Andy Lee's book, but I love the way, like, pretty much a year to the date when he won the world title, he was fighting in some bar on just an absolute nobody and thinking, how have I let myself go this far? And a year later, there he is knocking out Matt Korobov. And he's probably the only guy who can legit beat Korobov, because I know Charlo had the close decision, Eubank got the injury. Andy Lee, there was no disputing that. Andy Lee took care of him, no problem. Exactly. That was a younger Korobov too, so
an undefeated one as well.
Undefeated, and that was an Andy Lee probably a year or 2 removed from his best, you could argue, maybe.
Yeah.
So it just goes to show boxing's one of those sports where
It is indeed,
you
yeah,
think you
yes.
know it, and then
You don't know
it
what's
just-
gonna. You just know what's around the corner in boxing. Like you just never know, So
I think that's one of the reasons why I find it so entertaining.
yeah,
Because it's not just the fight, it's what goes on in the build up to it. You just think, oh, this guy's going to be doing this, and then you're like, what the hell? Where did
Yeah.
this come from? Like, even trainers and stuff like that, even like Tyson Fury, you knew Deontay Wilder was coming, you're thinking, oh, that's grand, Deontay Wilder's coming. It's like, he split with Ben Davis and he's being trained by Sugar Hill. Like, where did this come
Lee's
from?
actually involved as well there.
Andy Lee, I know, yeah, he said he's involved in the.
Yeah.
That's a good setup, I think.
It is, yeah.
If you think, because Andy Lee, I've seen Andy Lee's been up in the gym, hasn't he, with Paddy Donovan, his new prospect,
he's got
Jay
a
Quigley.
high boxing IQ, and Lee, I think make good coach and good advisor to Fury,
Mm-hmm.
Just goes to show, how
He's in Jay Quigley's corner now as well.
Yeah.
And Jay Quigley on the comeback trail now
Exactly,
as well. He looked good there
did.
last time out.
Yeah, he did. Got a win there after the defeat, so hopefully he can go on and get some big fights now as well.
That's it. He's promoted by Golden Boy as
Golden
well.
Boy as well, exactly. Yeah.
So,
yeah.
well, I think Irish boxing, when it gets to kind of like America, is where a lot of the fighters really like find their feet. And I think for some reason it's easier for an Irish fighter to go to America, especially on the East Coast, and get success than it would be if they were to go to the UK. Because even though the UK is still, it's a busy place for boxing, there's shows on every week. There's something about the Irish guys in America. They just have that rapport, especially on the East Coast. They have that rapport with fans, and if you go Boston, it's like Dublin.
It is,
pretty
yeah.
much like it's just full of every second person there is Irish at that stage.
There's probably more Irish there than there's here.
I think you fought there. Like, has it been double digits now? The amount of times you fought in Boston.
Oh well, you had 10 fights in Boston. I think it's my 15th fight in America.
It's crazy.
Yeah, it's mad.
It's crazy the amount of times you've been back and forth. I'd say your passport must look crazy.
Yeah. I lost a few of them, so lost a few passports. So there's a couple of stamps missing, but it's building up again now. I've had a passport for a few fights,
So we know now January the 11th, you versus Munguia, main event, Golden Boy DAZN. Is there anything you want to say to the fans about that? Obviously you have my support of everyone at the gym. I know you're going to get the job done. But is there anything you want to say to the people watching?
Just thanks for the support and tune in and enjoy the action. I'll be ready. I'm coming for war.
Message heard. Someone shared it to Munguia, so make sure he knows. So I hope you enjoyed this first interview done with. Let me know what you think, and we'll talk to you.